Taehyun Park yawned as he walked through the quiet halls of Frontier Outpost Delta 7. It was the middle of the night shift, and most of the station was asleep. As the lead xenobiologist, he often worked odd hours. Tonight, he was checking on his latest experiment when the station alarm began to blare. Attention all personnel. Unknown spacecraft approaching. This is not a drill. Security teams to Docking Bay 3. The voice of Commander Hyjin boomed over the speakers. Taehyun's heart raced. First contact situations were rare, especially this far from Earth. He rushed to the observation deck, where he could see the approaching ship. It was small, barely big enough for one person, and badly damaged. Smoke poured from holes in its side. Park, get to Docking Bay 3. If this is a new species, we need you there. Commander Hyjin's voice came through his personal communicator. When Taehyun reached the docking bay, security teams had already surrounded the small craft with weapons drawn. The ship's doors slowly opened with a loud hiss. Everyone tensed. A slim figure stumbled out and collapsed on the floor. It looked almost human. 2 arms, 2 legs, and a face that was strangely beautiful despite its alien features. Her skin had a faint purple tint, and instead of hair, she had what looked like soft tentacles flowing down her back. Her eyes were large and entirely black, without whites or visible pupils. "Don't shoot," she gasped in perfect English, shocking everyone present. "Please, help me." Taehyun stepped forward despite the security team's protests. "I'm Taehyun Park, xenobiologist. You're safe here. What's your name? What happened to you?" The alien's black eyes fixed on him. "I am Juwoo. My world is gone. They destroyed everything." As Taehyun helped her to the medical bay, he noticed something strange. A dark shadow seemed to move under her skin, like something living just beneath the surface. When he mentioned it, fear flashed across Juwoo's face. "It's Kira," she whispered. "My companion. But I can't control her well anymore. Not since." She didn't finish her sentence before passing out from exhaustion. Dr. Mina, the chief medical officer, scanned Juwoo's body. "Taehyun, look at this," she said, pointing to the screen. "There's definitely another life form inside her body. It seems to have integrated with her nervous system." Taehyun stared at the readings in fascination. Some kind of symbiote. Or parasite. "I'm not sure. But its DNA, if we can call it that, is shifting constantly. I've never seen anything like it." Commander Hyjin entered the medical bay, her face stern. "What are we dealing with, Dr. Park?" "She calls herself Juwoo. Her species is unknown, but she speaks English somehow. She said her world was destroyed, and she's carrying some kind of living entity inside her named Kira. Is it dangerous?" Before Taehyun could answer, Juwoo's body convulsed. A black, oil-like substance began to seep from her skin, forming what looked like a small serpent's head. Its eyes opened, glowing red against the black mass, and it hissed at them before quickly retreating back into Juwoo's body. "I'd say that's a yes," Dr. Mina said, backing away. "Quarantine her immediately," Commander Hyjin ordered. "Full security protocols." "Wait," Taehyun protested. "She came to us for help. We can't just lock her up. She's carrying an unknown entity that could threaten this entire station. Until we know more, she stays in quarantine." "That's an order, Dr. Park." As they moved Juwoo to a secure room, her eyes fluttered open. She grabbed Taehyun's arm with surprising strength. "The void beasts destroyed my people," she whispered urgently. "Kira is one of them, but different. I can control her, mostly, but she's growing stronger. Please, don't fear her. Help us." Taehyun looked into her black eyes and nodded. "I'll help you, Juwoo. I promise." As the security doors sealed Juwoo in her quarantine room, Taehyun couldn't help but wonder what he had just promised. And what exactly was a void beast? 3 days had passed since Juwoo's arrival. Taehyun spent every free moment studying her and the strange creature inside her. The quarantine room was comfortable but secure, with thick glass walls allowing the station crew to observe her safely. "Tell me about Kira," Taehyun said, sitting across from Ju-woo. A table separated them, covered with monitoring equipment. Ju-woo's black eyes looked down. "My people, the Alluri, lived with the void beasts for thousands of years. When we are young, we join with a void beast embryo. They become part of us, and we control them." "A symbiotic relationship?" Taehyun asked, fascinated. "Yes, they give us strength and long life. We give them a home and purpose." Ju-woo's voice trembled, but then the adult void beasts came from deep space. They were different, wrong. They attacked our world, took control of many symbiotes, turned them against their hosts. As she spoke, dark ripples moved beneath her purple skin. Taehyun watched, both scared and amazed. "Kira protected me. She fought against her own kind. That's how we escaped." Ju winced suddenly, putting a hand to her chest. "But since then, she's harder to control. The connection between us is damaged." "Can I see her?" Taehyun asked. Ju hesitated. "It's dangerous. If she fully manifests." "Just a small demonstration. Please, it might help me understand how to help you." Ju closed her eyes. The skin on her right arm began to ripple and darken. Slowly, her arm transformed, covered in a black, oil-like substance that shifted and moved. It stretched longer, fingers extending into sharp claws. "This is Kira," Ju said, her voice strained with effort. "A small part of her." Taehyun leaned closer, studying the transformed arm. The substance looked both solid and liquid, constantly moving yet maintaining its shape. "Amazing," he whispered. "And you control." The door to the quarantine room slid open. Security Officer Jae-won stepped in with a tray of food. "Mealtime for our guest." Ju-woo's transformed arm suddenly shot out, stretching impossibly long. Jae-won yelled and dropped the tray as the black claw grabbed his throat. "Ju-woo, stop!" Taehyun shouted. "It's not me." Ju cried. Her face showed fear and pain. "Kira, no, he's not a threat." The black substance had now covered half of Juwoo's body. Her right eye glowed red, the same red Taehyun had seen in the creature that first emerged from her skin. "Everyone out." Commander Haijin's voice came over the speakers. "Security teams, prepare to." "No." Taehyun stood between Ju and the door. "Don't hurt her." "Ju, I know you can control Kira. Focus. Remember why you came here. For help." Juwoo's normal hand grabbed her transformed arm, fighting against its grip on Jae-won. She screamed in pain, but slowly the black claw loosened. Jae-won fell to the floor, gasping for air. Security pulled him out of the room as Ju collapsed. The black substance slowly retreated back into her skin. "I'm sorry," she sobbed. "When he surprised us, Kira thought he was a threat." Later, in Commander Haijin's office, the atmosphere was tense. "She nearly killed Officer Jae-won," Haijin said, pacing. "We should eject her from the station before that thing breaks free completely." "That would be a death sentence," Taehyun argued, "and we'd lose a chance to learn about a new species. 2 new species, actually. Not worth the risk." "I noticed something interesting," Taehyun said. "When I spoke to Ju during the incident, Kira reacted. She listened, even though she was in control. And look at these brain scans." He showed Haijin his tablet. "When I'm in the room, Ju's control over Kira improves. Something about human brainwaves seems to affect the void beast differently." Commander Haijin frowned. "What are you suggesting?" "I think I might be able to help Ju regain full control of Kira." Taehyun leaned forward. "But I need more time with her, and more access." "You're asking me to risk this entire station on a theory." "I'm asking for a chance to help someone in need," Taehyun replied. "Isn't that what Frontier Outpost Delta 7 was built for? Exploration. Discovery. First contact. Commander Hyjin sighed. 3 days, Park. If you can't show progress by then, we'll have to consider more drastic measures. As Taehyun returned to the quarantine room, he saw Jiwoo watching him through the glass, her black eyes filled with hope and fear. Somehow, he would find a way to help her control the beast within. Taehyun didn't sleep that night. He stayed in his lab, looking at the brain scans of Jiwoo, and trying to understand the strange connection between her and Kira. The patterns were unlike anything he had seen before. By morning, Taehyun had an idea. He hurried to Commander Hyjin's office with his tablet full of data. "I need to show you something," he said, placing the tablet on her desk. "These are Jiwoo's brain patterns when she's alone." He pointed to chaotic, jagged lines. "And these are her patterns when I'm in the room." The lines were smoother, more regular. "What does this mean?" Hyjin asked. "Human brainwaves affect the void beast. Something about our minds is different. I think I might be able to create a second control link with Kira, helping Jiwoo regain full control." Commander Hyjin frowned. "You want to connect your mind to that thing?" "Absolutely not." "Just hear me out," Taehyun said. "I've modified this neural interface." He showed her a small headset. "It won't allow Kira to enter my mind, but it will let me project calming patterns toward her, like training a wild animal." "This is too dangerous." "More dangerous than keeping a scared alien with an unstable symbiote locked up until she loses control completely." Taehyun challenged. "We need to try something." After much debate, Commander Hyjin reluctantly agreed. With strict safety measures in place, Taehyun entered Jiwoo's quarantine room wearing the neural interface. "What is that device?" Jiwoo asked, eyeing the headset. "It might help with Kira," Taehyun explained. "My brain patterns seem to have a calming effect on her. This will amplify that effect." Jiwoo's eyes widened. No one has ever tried to connect with a void beast except the Illyri. "Well, humans are known for trying new things," Taehyun smiled. "Tell me more about your people's connection with the void beasts. How does it work?" As they talked, Taehyun activated the neural interface. Jiwoo described how Illyri children would bond with a void beast embryo in a sacred ceremony. The connection forms slowly. First the physical bond, then the mental one. "We share thoughts, feelings." Her voice grew sad. "Before the invasion, it was beautiful. The void beasts gave us abilities, healing, strength, the power to transform matter. We gave them consciousness beyond instinct." "What changed?" Taehyun asked. "The adult void beasts came from deep space. They were different, consumed by hunger and rage. They could take control of our symbiotes, turn them against us." Jiwoo's hands trembled. "Millions died in days. Those of us with stronger bonds fought back, but there were too many." As she spoke, dark ripples moved under her skin. Taehyun felt a strange presence through the neural interface, something alien and curious. "She's responding to you," Jiwoo whispered, noticing the movement. "Kira is listening." Taehyun focused his thoughts, trying to project calm and safety. The ripples slowed. "How did you escape?" he asked. "My father was a shipbuilder. When the attack came, he put me in an emergency pod. Kira helped fight off the controlled symbiotes long enough for me to launch." Tears filled her black eyes. "I'm the only one left, the last of the Illyri." Taehyun reached out and took her hand. The moment their skin touched, the neural interface lit up with activity. Jiwoo gasped. "What did you feel?" Taehyun asked. Kira settled, like she recognized something in you. Jiwoo looked at him with wonder. "How is this possible?" Through the observation window, Dr. Minna watched with Commander Hyjin. "Look at these readings," she said, pointing to her monitor. "The symbiote's chaotic patterns are stabilizing when they touch." "Can he really control this thing?" Hyjin asked. "Not control exactly," Minna replied. "But influence, maybe. There's definitely a connection forming." Inside the room, Taehyun felt a strange sensation, like fingers brushing against his mind. Not Juwoo's consciousness, but something else. Something ancient and primal, yet also childlike in its curiosity. "Kira is trying to reach you," Juwoo said in awe. "I've never seen her respond to anyone but me before." Taehyun looked into Juwoo's black eyes. "Then we have a chance. I think I can help you both." For the first time since her arrival, Juwoo smiled. "The human approach," she said softly. "Perhaps that's exactly what we needed." Over the next 2 days, Taehyun spent most of his time with Juwoo and Kira. He improved his neural interface, making it stronger and more sensitive. The medical bay had been converted into a special lab with extra safety measures. Commander Hyjin still worried, but the promising results kept her from stopping the work. "Are you ready for the next step?" Taehyun asked Juwoo on the morning of the 3rd day. She nodded, though fear showed in her black eyes. "What exactly will happen?" "Until now, I've only been sending calming signals to Kira," Taehyun explained, adjusting his headset. "Today, I want to try a 2-way connection. I'll receive thoughts from Kira while you maintain the physical bond." Dr. Minna checked the monitors around them. "Your vital signs will be tracked constantly. If anything goes wrong, we'll cut the connection immediately." Through the observation window, Commander Hyjin watched with a stern expression. Today was the deadline she had given Taehyun. They needed real progress. "Begin when ready," she said over the speaker. Juwoo sat across from Taehyun and took his hands. The touch helped strengthen the connection. She closed her eyes, and the familiar dark ripples appeared under her purple skin. "On letting Kira come forward," she said, her voice strained. "Not fully manifested, but closer to the surface." Taehyun activated his neural interface. Immediately, his mind filled with strange sensations. Colors he couldn't name. Smells that had no earth equivalent. And beneath it all, a hunger so deep it made his stomach clench. "I'm feeling something," he gasped. "It's intense." On Juwoo's arms, the black substance began to appear, flowing like oil over her skin. Small tendrils reached out toward Taehyun's hands where they touched hers. "Kira wants to connect directly," Juwoo whispered. "Should I allow it?" Taehyun hesitated. This was beyond what they had planned. But they needed a breakthrough, and time was running out. "Yes," he decided. "Let her touch me." A thin tendril of the black substance stretched from Juwoo's finger to Taehyun's hand. The moment it made contact, his mind exploded with sensation. He wasn't in the lab anymore. He was floating in darkness, surrounded by stars. Hunger, fear, rage. The emotions hit him like physical blows. Strange memories flashed through his mind. Planets he'd never seen, creatures he couldn't identify. He felt himself being torn apart and put back together. "Taehyun." Dr. Minna's voice sounded far away. "His heart rate is spiking. We need to abort." "Wait," Taehyun managed to say, though his voice shook. "There's something else here, beneath the chaos." He focused, pushing past the storm of savage instincts and alien thoughts. Deep within the connection, he sensed something unexpected. A small, frightened consciousness. Not Juwoo. Not himself. Kira. "She's afraid," Taehyun whispered. "Kira is terrified." Through the chaos, he sent a simple thought. "Asterisk, I hear you. I see you, asterisk." The mental storm paused. Then, like a child reaching out, a response came. "Asterisk, help us, asterisk." Taehyun opened his eyes. The lab came back into focus. Juwoo was staring at him, her face showing shock and hope. "You communicated with her," she said in wonder. "Directly." The black substance retreated back into Juwoo's skin. Taehyun slumped forward, exhausted but exhilarated. "Kira isn't just a parasite or a predator," he told the others as Dr. Minna checked his vital signs. "She has her own consciousness. She's trapped by her instincts, driven by them. But she's aware. And she's as scared as Juwoo is." Commander Hyjin entered the lab, looking at the readings. What does this mean for containing the threat? It means, Tae-hyun said, still catching his breath, that we've been thinking about this all wrong. We don't need to control or suppress Kira. We need to help her. She's a victim too, Commander. The void beasts that attacked the Eluri, they did something to her kind as well. Juwoo's eyes widened. Is that possible? I felt it, Tae-hyun confirmed. And I think I know how we can help you both. But it will require something no one has tried before, a three-way mental bond between human, Eluri, and void beast. The room fell silent as everyone considered the implications of this dangerous new approach. This is too dangerous, Commander Hyjin said, pacing the conference room. A three-way mental bond. We barely understand the void beast as it is. A week had passed since Tae-hyun's first direct contact with Kira. In that time, he had developed a training program to help both himself and Juwoo strengthen their mental control. The data supports my theory, Tae-hyun insisted, pointing to his display. Each session shows improved stability in Kira's patterns, and Juwoo hasn't had a single loss of control since we started. Dr. Minna nodded. The medical readings confirm it, but Tae-hyun, a full bond is different from these controlled sessions. We don't have a choice. Juwoo spoke up. Her voice was stronger now, more confident. I can feel Kira changing. The connection between us is shifting. Without this bond, I might lose her completely. Commander Hyjin finally agreed to allow one attempt at the three-way bond under strict supervision. They set up in the largest lab on the station, with every possible safety measure in place. Tae-hyun had designed a special chamber for the procedure. Inside, he and Juwoo sat facing each other on comfortable chairs. Advanced neural interfaces connected them both to the station's computers, allowing Dr. Minna to monitor every aspect of their brainwaves. Remember the steps we practiced, Tae-hyun said as technicians attached the final sensors. First, you allow Kira to partially manifest. Then I establish contact. Then we both reach for her consciousness together. Juwoo nodded, her black eyes showing determination. I'm ready. The procedure began smoothly. Juwoo closed her eyes, and the familiar black substance flowed over her arms. Tae-hyun activated his neural interface and reached out mentally toward the alien presence. Asterisk Kira, asterisk, he called silently. Asterisk, we're here to help you, asterisk. The response came faster than before, a jumble of images and sensations that gradually formed into something like words. Asterisk, danger. Fear. Trapped, asterisk. Asterisk, you're safe here, asterisk, Tae-hyun projected. Asterisk, Juwoo, and I want to help you be free, asterisk. Suddenly, the lights in the lab flickered. The station's power system experienced a surge, then a drop. Emergency lights kicked on. What's happening? Commander Hyjin's voice came over the speaker. Power fluctuation, Dr. Minna reported. Backup systems are online, but the main lights went out completely. In the darkness, Juwoo gasped. The black substance covering her arms began to spread rapidly across her entire body. Kira thinks we're under attack, she cried. She's trying to protect me. In seconds, Juwoo was completely covered by the void beast. Where she had sat now stood a towering, shifting mass of darkness with glowing red eyes. Tendrils whipped around the room, smashing equipment. Security teams rushed to the door, weapons drawn. Commander Hyjin shouted orders to evacuate the lab. But Tae-hyun stayed in his chair. Instead of running or fighting, he reached out his hand toward the creature. Kira, he said calmly, it's just a power failure. Look at me. Feel my thoughts. We are not in danger. The creature paused, its red eyes fixing on Tae-hyun. A tendril slowly extended toward his outstretched hand. That's it, Tae-hyun encouraged. Remember our connection. When the tendril touched his skin, Tae-hyun's mind exploded with sensation again. But this time, he was prepared. He focused on creating a mental space, a meeting place for all three consciousnesses. In his mind, he saw himself standing in a simple white room, Across from him stood Jiwoo, looking just as she did in reality. Between them floated a sphere of shifting darkness. Asterisk Kira, asterisk Taehyun called. Asterisk show yourself. Show us who you truly are, asterisk. The sphere pulsed and changed. Gradually, it formed into a small, childlike figure made of darkness, with those same glowing red eyes. Asterisk, the void made us weapons. Asterisk came the thought, clearer than ever before. Asterisk changed us, used us, but I am not like them, asterisk. Asterisk, we know. Asterisk, Jiwoo's mental voice joined in. Asterisk, that's why we survived, asterisk. For the first time, the three minds connected fully. Information flowed freely between them. Taehyun saw glimpses of the truth. The void, a cosmic entity of pure consumption, had corrupted the natural void beasts, turning them into its vanguard. In the lab, the black substance covering Jiwoo began to recede. As the emergency lights steadied, it withdrew completely back into her skin. She opened her eyes, which now had a hint of red around the edges. It worked, she whispered in awe. The bond formed. Taehyun nodded, feeling the new connection humming in his mind. Three consciousnesses linked in perfect balance. What did you see? Dr. Minna asked, approaching cautiously. Everything, Taehyun replied. And I know what destroyed the Eluru world. Something much worse than void beasts is coming. Something called the Void. Commander Hyjin called an emergency meeting. All senior staff gathered in the main conference room as Taehyun and Jiwoo explained what they had learned through their bond with Kira. The Void is not just a name, Taehyun said, standing before the screen displaying star charts. It's an actual entity, a cosmic force that consumes entire worlds. It corrupted the adult void beasts, turning them into its advanced scouts. Jiwoo nodded. My people never knew the truth. We thought the attack was just from hostile void beasts, but they were merely tools of the void. Dr. Minna studied the data on her tablet. And you're saying this void is heading toward our sector of space? Yes, Taehyun confirmed. Through Kira's memories, we've identified its path. He pointed to a section of the star chart. It moves slowly but never stops, and it sends corrupted void beasts ahead to weaken resistance. Commander Hyjin's face was grim. How long do we have? That's the problem, Jiwoo said, her voice shaking slightly. Through our bond, Kira has sensed something. A fleet of fully matured void beasts is already approaching Delta 7. They must have detected her presence. Silence fell over the room as everyone absorbed this news. How long? Commander Hyjin asked again. 3 days, Taehyun answered. Maybe less. The commander stood up. We evacuate immediately. Send emergency signals to Earth and all nearby outposts. Prepare all shuttles and transport ships. As people rushed to carry out orders, Taehyun pulled Jiwoo aside. There's something else, he said quietly. Something Kira showed me that I haven't shared yet. Through their mental bond, he felt Kira stir beneath Jiwoo's skin, confirming his thoughts. The Void Beast's fleet will reach us before the evacuation is complete, he continued. But we might have a way to stop them, or at least slow them down. Jiwoo looked at him with her black and red eyes. The bond. Yes, our three-way connection is unique. Through Kira, we might be able to communicate with the approaching void beasts, maybe even influence them. Commander Hyjin overheard them and approached. What are you suggesting, Dr. Park? The station's communication array could be modified to amplify our mental connection, Taehyun explained. We could broadcast Kira's thoughts to the approaching fleet. Let them know that humans and void beasts can coexist, that there's an alternative to the void's control. The commander shook her head. Too risky. We need to focus on saving lives, not experiments. If we don't try, Jiwoo argued, the fleet will just follow us. They won't stop until they've taken Kira and destroyed everyone who's had contact with her. That's how the void works. Hours later, the evacuation was underway. Shuttles and transport ships departed in groups, carrying station personnel toward safety. Commander Haijin coordinated everything from the command center, where Taehyun and Juwoo had joined her. Final group leaves in 2 hours, reported Officer Jaewon, who had recovered from his earlier encounter with Kira. But long-range sensors show the Void Beast fleet accelerating. They'll arrive before the last shuttles can launch. Commander Haijin looked at Taehyun and Juwoo. Your plan to communicate with them, could it actually work? There are no guarantees, Taehyun admitted, but it's the only option that might save the last evacuation groups. After a long moment, the commander nodded. What do you need? Access to the main communication array and help from someone who understands the station's systems. I'll stay behind to assist, volunteered Do-yeon Kim, a young research assistant. I know the communication systems better than anyone. I'll remain as well, Commander Haijin decided. I won't abandon my station or my people. As the final evacuation preparations continued, Taehyun, Juwoo, and Do-yeon worked frantically to modify the communication array. Through their bond, Kira provided knowledge about Void Beast communication that no human had ever known. It's ready, Do-yeon announced as the countdown to the fleet's arrival dropped below 6 hours. Taehyun took Juwoo's hand, feeling the familiar sensation of Kira stirring beneath her skin. Now we find out if the Void Beasts can be reached, he said, or if they're too far gone. The fate of everyone remaining on the station, and perhaps much more, rested on their attempt to communicate with creatures designed only to consume and destroy. The last evacuation shuttle departed from Delta 7, carrying most of the remaining crew to safety. Only 4 people stayed behind: Taehyun, Juwoo, Commander Haijin, and Research Assistant Do-yeon. They gathered in the communication center, where they had set up the modified equipment. Long-range sensors show 57 Void Beast ships approaching, Do-yeon reported, his young face pale but determined. They'll be here in less than 2 hours. Commander Haijin checked the station's defensive systems. Shields are at maximum, but they won't hold long against that many attackers. Taehyun sat in a special chair they had built, connected to the communication array. Juwoo sat beside him in a matching seat. Wires and sensors covered both of them, linking their minds to the powerful transmission equipment. Are you ready? Taehyun asked Juwoo. She nodded, her black and red eyes reflecting the blinking lights of the equipment. Kira is ready too. I can feel her eagerness to try. They began the connection process they had practiced. As their minds joined with Kira's, Do-yeon activated the communication array. The station hummed with power as it broadcast their thoughts toward the approaching fleet. In their shared mental space, Taehyun, Juwoo, and Kira stood together. Before them stretched a dark void filled with red points of light, the minds of the approaching Void Beasts. Asterisk, we are here, asterisk, they called out together. Asterisk, we offer peace and cooperation, asterisk. The response came like a tidal wave of hatred and hunger. Images of destruction, of worlds consumed and species extinguished. But beneath it all was something worse, a vast, ancient presence directing the fleet. Asterisk, the void controls them completely, asterisk. Kira's thoughts came clearly. Asterisk, they are too far gone, asterisk. Taehyun refused to give up. Asterisk, we must try harder. Show them what we've achieved. Our bond, asterisk. They pushed their connection deeper, trying to reach the corrupted Void Beasts. But the more they reached out, the more they felt the Void's influence pushing back, trying to invade their minds. Their brain patterns are becoming unstable, Do-yeon shouted in the physical world, watching the monitors. We need to break the connection. Commander Haijin moved to shut down the equipment, but Juwoo's hand shot out, stopping her. No, Juwoo said, her voice strangely layered as if Kira spoke through her as well. We have another option. Through their bond, Kira suggested something unprecedented, a deeper merger of their 3 consciousnesses, creating a hybrid mind powerful enough to broadcast a different kind of message. Asterisk, it will change us all, asterisk, Kira warned. Asterisk, the connection will be permanent, asterisk. Asterisk, do it. Asterisk, Taeyun decided, and Ju agreed. In the mental space, the three separate forms merged into one glowing entity. In the physical world, Kira's substance flowed out from Ju, enveloping both her and Taeyun in a cocoon of shifting darkness. What's happening? Commander Haijin demanded, reaching for her weapon. Wait. Do-young pointed to the monitors. The readings are stabilizing. They're creating something new. From within the cocoon, a powerful mental signal blasted outward. Not a message of peace this time, but a warning. Human minds were different. They could resist the Void's influence. They could bond with Void beasts without corruption. They were a threat to the Void's plans. The cocoon dissolved, revealing Taehyun and Ju change. Black patterns like living tattoos covered parts of their skin. Their eyes both held the same red glow at their centers. Did it work? Commander Haijin asked. No, Taehyun said, his voice heavy with disappointment. They're still coming. But they're afraid now. We've shown them something they've never seen before. The Void's hold is too strong, Ju added. They can't break free like Kira did. The station's alarm blared as Do-young checked the sensors. They're entering our system. We have 10 minutes at most. Commander Haijin straightened her uniform. Then we make our stand here. I've rerouted all power to weapons and shields. We'll give them a fight to remember. Taehyun looked at Ju, feeling Kira's presence flowing through both of them now. The merger had changed them in ways they were just beginning to understand. We have one advantage, he said. They've never faced anything like us before. Through their new shared consciousness, they felt Kira's agreement. Asterisk, we fight together, asterisk. The first Void Beast ship reached Delta 7 with a thunderous impact against the station's shields. The entire structure shook as alarms blared throughout every corridor. Shields at 80%. Do-young called from his console. More ships approaching from all sides. Commander Haijin fired the station's defense weapons, hitting one of the alien vessels. Direct hit, but it's barely damage. Taehyun turned to Ju, both of them feeling Kira's presence flowing between them like an electric current. We need to do more than just defend. We need to fight back directly. How? Ju asked, though through their shared bond, she already understood what he was suggesting. Let Kira fully manifest, but with both of us controlling her. Ju nodded. They stood together in the center of the command room and joined hands. The black patterns on their skin began to move and flow, spreading across their bodies. Commander Haijin and Do-young stepped back in awe as the substance expanded around Taehyun and Ju, creating a cocoon once more. The cocoon grew larger, reaching the ceiling. Then it burst open, revealing something new. A massive, humanoid figure made of the shifting black substance. It had 4 arms, a head with 4 glowing red eyes, and stood nearly 3 meters tall. Inside its semi-transparent chest, Taehyun and Ju could be seen, suspended in the center of the creature, their eyes closed in concentration. What is that? Do-young gasped. It's all 3 of them. Commander Haijin realized. Taehyun, Ju, and Kira, combined. The merged entity spoke with a strange, layered voice. We will engage the enemy directly. Keep the station defenses active to support us. Another impact rocked the station. Shields at 60%, Do-young warned. The main hangar is our best access point, Commander Haijin said. I'll redirect shield power to protect the command center and critical systems. The merged entity moved with incredible speed through the station corridors, flowing around obstacles rather than navigating them. When they reached the hangar bay, Commander Haijin opened the massive doors. The protective force field kept the air in while allowing ships to pass through. 3 Void Beast vessels had attached themselves to the station's hull near the hangar. As the doors opened, dark shapes poured through the force field. Corrupted Void Beasts in their pure form, similar to Kira, but larger and twisted with malevolence. Their bodies shifted constantly, forming weapons and claws as they entered the hangar. The merged entities stepped forward. Through their shared consciousness, Taeyun and Juwu coordinated perfectly with Kira's instincts. When the first void beast attacked, they met it with equal ferocity but greater creativity, while the corrupted void beasts fought with brute force. The merged entity used human ingenuity. They formed shields to deflect attacks, then quick striking blades to counter. When surrounded, they split into multiple smaller forms before rejoining. They're adapting to our tactics, Taehyun thought within the merged consciousness. Then we must be unpredictable, Juwu responded. Kira, show us what else we can do. Their merged forms suddenly shifted, sprouting dozens of tendrils that grabbed the attacking void beasts. With a surge of power, electrical energy coursed through the tendrils, stunning their attackers. Over the communication system, they heard Do-Yun's voice. More ships attaching to all sides of the station, shields failing in sections 3 and 4. The battle in the hangar intensified. For every corrupted void beast they defeated, 2 more entered. Despite their new powers, the merged entity began to tire. The strain of maintaining the complex form was draining Taeyun and Juwu. We can't hold much longer, Juwu thought as they staggered back from an attack. Just as they were about to be overwhelmed, the hangar shook with new explosions, but these came from outside. Through the force field, they saw Earth military ships appearing, firing at the void beast vessels. The hangar doors on the opposite side opened, and armed soldiers poured in, led by a familiar figure, Commander Haijin, her uniform torn, but her determination unbroken. I told you I wouldn't abandon my people, she shouted over the noise of battle. And Earth wasn't about to abandon its outpost. Reinforced by the soldiers, the merged entity fought with renewed strength. Together, they pushed the corrupted void beasts back toward the force field and into space. 3 months after the battle at Delta 7, Taehyun stood at the window of Earth's orbital defense station, looking out at the stars. His reflection showed the permanent changes to his appearance. Intricate black patterns flowed across his skin like living tattoos, and his eyes had the same red glow at their centers as Juwu's. Still getting used to the view? Juwu asked, joining him at the window. Her own markings had grown more elaborate since their merger with Kira. To this view, yes, Taehyun replied with a smile. To the view inside our minds. That might take years. Since the battle, they had discovered that they could no longer fully separate. The three-way consciousness remained, with Kira's presence constantly flowing between them. They could still function independently, but they were permanently connected in ways that human science was just beginning to understand. The door to the observation deck slid open, and Commander Haijin entered, now wearing the uniform of an admiral. "The Council is ready for your demonstration," she said. "Are you prepared?" They nodded and followed her to the large chamber where Earth's military and scientific leaders had gathered. Dr. Mina and Do-Yun were already there, standing beside complex monitoring equipment. Admiral Haijin addressed the assembly. "What you are about to witness is the result of 3 months of research and training. As you know, the Void Beast fleet has retreated to the edge of our solar system, but the greater threat, the Void itself, is still approaching. Our best estimates give us 5 years before it reaches Earth." She gestured to Taehyun and Juwu. These 2 individuals, along with the Void Beast entity they call Kira, represent our greatest hope for survival. Taehyun stepped forward. "What we've learned is that the Void can't easily influence human minds. Our thought patterns are too chaotic, too creative. When bonded with a Void Beast, this resistance is amplified. We're not the only ones who can form this bond," Juwu added. Since the battle, 50 human volunteers have successfully bonded with rescued Void Beast embryos we recovered from the enemy ships. In the center of the chamber, they demonstrated their abilities. The black substance flowed from both their bodies, merging between them to create various forms, weapons, tools, even a perfect replica of Admiral Haijin that made the audience gasp. The hybrid consciousness gives us access to abilities neither species had alone, Taehyun explained. Humans provide creativity and resistance to the Void's influence. The Void beasts provide adaptability and raw power. But the most important discovery, Ju continued, is that these bonds are healing the corruption in the Void beasts. Each bonded pair represents not just a powerful defender, but a potential ambassador to turn more Void beasts away from the Void's control. A woman in a scientist's uniform raised her hand. What about long-term effects? Are these changes permanent? Taehyun nodded. We can never return to what we were before, but we've gained far more than we've lost. He looked at Ju, feeling the warmth of their connection. We're something new now. Not just human or Eluri or Void beast, but a true evolution of all three. Admiral Hyjin stepped forward again. The first squadron of bonded pairs has already been formed. Training continues daily. When the Void arrives, we will be ready. Later that evening, Taehyun and Ju stood alone on the observation deck again. Through their shared consciousness, they felt Kira's contentment, so different from the fear and rage that had once defined her. Do you ever regret it? Ju asked. Bonding with us, becoming something different. Taehyun shook his head. Humans have always adapted. It's our greatest strength. We don't just survive changes, we embrace them and grow stronger. He took her hand, and the patterns on their skin glowed where they touched, Kira's essence flowing between them. The Void thought it found easy prey when it corrupted the Void beasts. Ju said. It never expected to find a species that could turn its own weapons against it. That's the thing about humans, Taehyun smiled. We're full of surprises. In the vastness of space beyond the station, the stars seemed to shine brighter. The future was uncertain. The coming battle would be difficult, but for the first time since the Void began its consumption of worlds, there was real hope. A new species had emerged, not through destruction, but through connection, and it was ready to defend its home. The end.